Joining me in studio now is Mr. Matthew Schisler. He's the CEO of Cord Blood America, stock symbol CBAI. Matt, good to see you again.
Hey, Don, good to see you.
First in the show 2 weeks in a row. That's kind of a record for us. Tell us real quickly again what the company does, because it's a fascinating business model.
Yeah, Don, we store umbilical cord blood stem cells for families. That means families pay us to privately bank the umbilical cord blood stem cells for their children. And what's important to note is that the stem cells from the umbilical cord are a perfect match for that baby, and they can be used to battle diseases such as cancer or leukemia if that ever happens, God forbid, ever happens to the child in the future. And what's also important to know that it's adult stem cells are not the embryonic, controversial stem cells.
Now, of course, Matt, last week on the program you announced kind of a milestone. You had retired $1 million of debt. I know you're real proud of that. But also, I think something about a press release coming out perhaps this week about a 14A filing. What can you tell us about that?
Yeah, you know, Don, we did a 14A filing last Friday with the SEC, and so we've gotten a lot of questions from shareholders as to, you know, what is this 14A filing? What is Cord Blood America intending to do? And the short answer is the stem cell industry, as we sit today, is obviously a very hot and liquid sector. And as we've talked about past on the show, we're getting very close to being cash flow break even or positive. And so what we're looking to do is to increase our authorized shares so that we can be well ahead of the game as the stem cell industry continues to grow. We have future acquisitions, we have organic growth, we have more debt reduction, all part of our plan. And because we're almost cash flow break even and looking to go to profitability, we want the resources to be able to strike and strike quickly. This is going to be a very hot, fast-growing sector under this new administration. And so what we're doing is that we're asking the shareholders to give us those resources so that we, as an organization, can increase the value of our company very, very quickly as the opportunities present themselves.
So basically, if I read you correctly, what you're talking about in this constant growth by acquisition that you've been in for the last couple of years, and you mentioned last week you do want to continue that at the same time, not get into debt. You're looking at equity acquisition, so to speak, which is why you're going to need more shares to work with?
Actually, not necessarily, to be honest with you. We just want to have a position, we want to have a strong equity and strong cash position so that we can approach acquisitions. Now, the acquisitions we did in the past, Don, were really the cash service the debts. So, you know, that's really not the case, but we want to have a strong equity position in case there's something that really makes sense to the current shareholders. Another important note to know is that, you know, everything that we have as an obligation is just disclosed with the SEC. So, you know, what the shareholders need to understand that this increase in authorized shares, there's no current agreements that haven't been disclosed with the SEC. So this is really a frontal attack, a forward strike, if you will, by the organization to have a very, very strong equity position, which could provide us a very strong cash position so that we can not only grow organically, very strategically and profitably, but strike if there's acquisitions that make sense and continue to reduce the debt as we've been doing.
I would imagine that having that kind of structure in place once it's completed would make you even more attractive to an acquisition target.
Well, it would. You know, I'm going to share with you that's the CEO and chairman of the board, that, you know, the board has conversations and we have fiscal responsibility to look at all potential options. That being said, and I've said it before, we want to be a globally dominant stem cell storage facility. I'm in this for the long haul. I really want to be there. Obviously, if something came across our desk that made a lot of sense to the shareholders, we certainly have to evaluate it. But yeah, the real goal is to become that globally dominant stem cell storage facility.
When you find yourself in a position of looking at potential acquirees, so to speak, are you looking at the amount of samples that they have in storage, their customer base? Are you looking at facilities? I mean, what is your you know, I guess, top of your list?
First and foremost are samples, because they're essentially assets that cash flow. And with the very little bad debt from those assets, it's really a biological annuity. Next in line in that is a laboratory that also could provide us cost reduction. We currently outsource the lab services. If there was a laboratory that we could purchase that would reduce our costs and make more sense to even be more financially stable and strong, that's what we would do.
Okay. Once again, Cord Blood America, CBAI. For more information, please call us right now, toll free from anywhere in the world, 888-259-4449. Matt, as always, a pleasure and congratulations.
Thanks, Don.